Hi, Facebook live streamers. So excited to have you here backstage with Change It Up with Paula Radio. So we are talking today about making lemonade out of lemons. and I have two guests on this show who have done just that, who both have overcome financial and physical hardships to go forward and do things for other people that have been really beautiful and really wonderful. So thank you for being with us. We are just about ready to start the show. So, and remember, live streamers, we really won't be able to interact too much with you, except we do take breaks in the show. So I just want to let you know some of what you're going to see is what we do in between the segments to get ready for the next segment. So those of you that might think, oh, this is a live stream show, it is, but it isn't. You're backstage, literally. So we pre-record this show, and we're excited to have you here with us because it just gives us more energy. But know that it's not going to be a perfect show like you would be seeing if we were just live streaming that directly to you. All righty, I think we're ready. Todd's my sound engineer. I think we are going to go. Welcome to Change It Up with Paula Shaw. We are delighted to have you here today. We're talking about making lemonade out of lemons in this show today because, let's face it, life deals us hard times. Life deals us lemons. And we always have a choice. Are we going to let that destroy us, or are we going to make lemonade out of them? Are we going to take that opportunity and maybe create something beautiful and something better? So today, my two guests, Cheri Blair, our sponsor and a financial consultant whose work is about empowering women to grow beautiful financial futures, and Dina J, who has created a new nonprofit called Club Able, which is all about helping disabled people be able to get the services, the transportation, and everything else that they need. So you'll be meeting them very shortly in the show. But first, we've got some things to talk about. But first, something very important. Today is my beautiful daughter Erin's birthday. So she's 33 years old today. And I want to say officially, happy birthday, Erin. I hope it's an amazing year for you. I know it will be. So now what I really want to talk to you about is, first of all, remembering that if you're in any kind of a rut, best thing you can do is change it up. What we're trying to do here is bring you information and guests that are going to offer you ideas about how to get out of those ruts, about how to make your lives better and up-level them, and how to improve your conversations with members of the opposite sex, your boss, your spouse, your friends, so that we can create better relationships and in a world that just works better. So when you're not sure what to do, try changing it up. It often is the best thing we can do. Now, I have to tell you, in doing research for interviewing Cheri Blair today, I found some statistics that blew me away. So get a load of this. 80% of older women can't pass the 2017 Retirement Income Literacy Gender Difference Quiz. That's a big name. I'm going to say it again. The 2017 Retirement Income Literacy Gender Difference Report. 80% of women between 60 and 75 failed the test. And the test is about retirement income. It covered such areas as company retirement plans, investment considerations, strategies for sustaining income, life expectancy, long-term care expenses, Social Security, the use of life insurance, housing, impact of taxes on retirement security, impact of inflation, and Medicare insurance planning. These quiz results are particularly troubling because women tend to live longer than men and accumulate higher health costs. So they are having to figure out how to make their money last longer and how to have more of it. And this is a real problem when only 18% of retirement age women were able to pass this retirement income literacy quiz. Nearly twice as many men passed it. But of course, so that means 36% of the men kind of understood what the test was asking about, understood these different areas that I just mentioned. But the women didn't. The women showed more literacy when it came to the issues about Medicare planning and ways to manage long-term care expenses. But there's a real gap, obviously, between men and women and understanding what's going on. And so the questions, of course, arise. Why? Why is that true? Well, Alexandra Levy, this was all from a CNN report that was recently done. She said one of the reasons is that women are newer to the workforce. So conversations revolving around investing are a newer experience for women. And I know certainly when I was growing up, and for sure when my mother was growing up, there was no question. The men handled the money. And so it wasn't even really necessary for us to learn about it. Our job was the home and the children and making sure that everybody was happy and that the family was harmonious. But it's changed now. It's changed tremendously. We're out in the workplace. You know, we are just as busy earning money in most cases as the men are. And yet, when it comes to retirement, we're definitely lacking in the knowledge that we need. And if you look at the data, they were saying in the article, older women who are single or lost a spouse tend to rely more on Social Security. Well, we all know Social Security is, in most cases, not enough to live on, and chances are that in the future there's going to be less and less of it. So this becomes an even bigger predicament. Women, and this has nothing to do, by the way, with intelligence. We can be really smart. We can be really incredible at certain things, but not incredible when it comes to understanding the finances, especially the finances regarding retirement. So I want to tell you that I went online and I took this test, the Retirement Income Literacy Gender Differences Report. And I am not proud of this, but I'm going to very honestly tell you I failed. I'm one of those 80% that could not pass the test. Out of 38 questions, I only got 15 right for a score of 39%. There are my results. This is what you get at the end of the test. I'm showing the Facebook Live people this, which, by the way, I highly recommend you take, because when your results come, then they give you the right answer so you can begin to learn the correct information that you need to make your life work. It was a really gripping experience, I have to tell you. When I first saw that, I thought, oh, well, you know, I've had financial advisors sponsor my show. Cheri Blair sponsors my show. I listen to everything they say. But when it came down to the nitty-gritty, and, you know, I'm really looking at the questions, like, for example, here's one of them. If you had a well-diversified portfolio of 50% stocks and 50% bonds that was worth $100,000 at retirement, which sounds like a lot of money, doesn't it? Based on historical returns in the United States, the most you could afford to withdraw each year is about blank to have a 95% chance that your assets will last for 30 years. Now, I know for a lot of people, 30 years sounds like a long time, but hey, if we're retiring at 65, people living to 95 is a very common occurrence now, and the life expectancy is going up. So guess what the right answer for that was? I said $6,000 a year. But the correct answer was 4,000. That means if you had $100,000 in stocks and bonds, you could only actually withdraw 4,000 a year if you want that money to last for 30 years. You see what I'm saying? This is like really important stuff that we need to know. I had no idea. And obviously, we all know nobody can live on $4,000 a year, so you better have other things going on. It's actually pretty gripping, when you look at this information and realize that this is the kind of stuff that we don't know about. Here's another one I got wrong. To maximize the safe withdrawal rate from a portfolio over a 30-year retirement period, is it best to hold blank in equities throughout retirement? So it was a percentage, right? So it was 10%, 25 to 30, 50 to 60, 90 to 100. The correct answer was 25 to 30 or 50 to 60. So the bigger amounts were the correct answer. I had no idea. I had no idea. I didn't even truly understand all the terms. So what I'm saying is, I don't think I'm the only one. I don't think I'm alone out there. I think a lot of people need financial help, and especially women. The report said that when it came to men and women, there was no difference in the fact that they would seek a financial consultant to get help. But what I know about women is, and I can tell you this from personal experience, if you don't have a portfolio that looks really good, or if you don't have an amount of money that you're really proud of, you're very reluctant to go tell somebody about it. It's not easy to say, wow, I don't know how I'm going to finance my future. But lots of people are there. Lots of us are there, and we don't know what to do. Fortunately, for you and for me, today on my show is Cheri Blair, who is an extraordinary financial consultant. Not only does she really know her stuff, but she's really about being there for those women who are scared or embarrassed or feel dumb that they don't understand all this stuff. And in just a few moments, I'm going to have the pleasure of bringing Cheri onto the show and letting you meet her yourself so that you can see what a beautiful heart she has and why her mission is to empower women to grow beautiful financial futures. And what I like to add to that is because we all know, ladies, a man is not a financial plan. All right, we'll be right back. Perfect. All right. Let's good, Paula. Very good. Oh, thank you. Come on over. Roll her on over. Good. I like that. I love that. Well, I wonder if we should have Todd check the Facebook. Can you? Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. That's right. Yes, we want to make sure we have you sitting somewhere we can see you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I found this stuff in the research, I was like, oh, my God, this is so important. People need to know. Can you see? Oh, Cheri, come sit down so we can see if you're in the picture. Okay, sorry. Yeah. I love that. That was a great little quiz. Well, in fact, I think, yes. Yeah, we've got a lot of material to work with. All those ladies. Yeah, I mean, all the ladies. Everybody, really. It's not just. We're just getting Cheri covered up here because this is this studio is otherwise known as Ice Station Zebra. Oh, that's my dad. Hi, Dad. Aww. So I hope, Dad, you appreciated that I didn't have the guest in on the first segment. That was some criticism he gave me last time. Well, all right. Missy. Okay. So let's get you situated so you can look at me and still be talking into your mic. Okay. All righty. Okay. I wanted my, there's my pen. You never know, right? That's right. I always have mine handy. Okay. Okay. So, Cheri, if you'll hit the green button. Oh, wait, you got to hit the white one and then the red one. Sorry. Okay. Red one? And now the green one. Oh,
Okay, did you want this?
Well, I'll have you do it.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it again.
Sorry.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. And here in this segment, I have with me the woman I promised you, Cheri Blair.
Hi, Paula.
Who is an incredible financial consultant, and she's going to help us cut through this craziness and this confusion and all this information that makes people like me, who I must say, I pride myself on passing tests very well. I graduated cum laude from college.
All right.
This may actually be the first test I ever failed, Cheri.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
This, for any of you who are just joining us, is the 2017 Retirement Income Literacy Gender Differences Report. And I, as I mentioned in the last segment, only got a score of 39%. The questions were, in my mind, pretty amazing. I mean, I can see where this information is so important, but I wasn't even close to understanding all this stuff. Now, obviously you are, Cheri, and I think we need to tell the audience quickly a little bit about your background, why you have this passion for helping women.
Oh, certainly. Yes, Paula. Growing up in my family, being the only girl out of 5 boys, and having a very strong authoritarian father that dictated how things were. Mm-hmm. My mother never had any say about any financial issues.
Yeah.
And was even, so she didn't even talk about things like that. I mean, there was no real education or communication about finances from my mother to myself or any of the children, for that matter.
Because she probably didn't know herself, right?
Well, I mean, no. There were some things she obviously would know.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of things that, the decisions that my father made about, that she didn't know. No. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't that she wasn't intelligent or she didn't have the,
That's what I'm saying here. I like to think I'm intelligent.
Right. And so that's why it's so important to me, because I was raised that way. When I got older, that I vowed to myself that I was never going to be like that.
Uh-huh.
And that I wanted to, and I felt so passionate about wanting to help women in particular that feel like that themselves.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? It's interesting. In a way, I think you have your work cut out for you, because a lot of women, I had somebody just yesterday, a woman say to me, I just don't want to be bothered with it. I don't want to learn it. It's confusing. I don't want to know it. You must run into that quite a lot.
Yes, sadly I do. I see my role with women as fostering financial confidence.
Oh, I love that. Fostering financial confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe that's part of, well, there are those differences in left and right brain kind of thinking.
Absolutely.
Like left brain thinking is much more linear, much more mathematic, that kind of thing.
Right.
And women do tend to be more right-brained, but we don't only have a right brain. We can use our left brain too.
Absolutely.
But I think there's the missing piece, at least for me, is last night was a wake-up call, because I realized I haven't had the motivation to really get out there and find out about it. And I actually should, because I'm a single woman and I'm a boomer. So, I'm at that point in life. But all my life, my husband took care of the money.
Right.
And even though I've been on my own for quite a while, I take care of the money, but that whole idea of knowing about what to invest in and where to put your money and diversifying your portfolio, I know the terms, but it's not something that I've really had one-on-one experience with.
Right.
And I think a lot of women, that must be true, right?
Yes, I'm sad to say that. I think that is true. And when I see couples, opposed to just a single woman, couples come in, oftentimes I'll see where the female spouse, will just take a back seat.
Yep.
And
even when they're talking with you.
Even when they're talking with me, or I'm talking to them, for the most part, the husband does the, ask the questions, does the interaction, as I'm explaining things to them, the husband will, have questions about that, whereas for the most part, the women just sit back.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've made it my job, or I feel like it's my duty to bring them into the fold.
That's good.
And to the point where, if needs be, I will suggest and sit with them individually.
Even though you're working with the couple.
Even though I'm working with the couple, because oftentimes, if that woman is left alone at some point, in her life, whether, she becomes a widow or, who knows what, if it's a divorce or something, then at that point, it's oftentimes, well, I don't want to say, it's late. I don't want to say it's too late, because you can always start wherever you are.
Sure.
But all those times that she was coming, or that she came to the meeting, or to the appointments, but didn't really participate. And oftentimes, the wife, the female spouse, will just drop out of coming to the meetings.
Oh, because you know what? I have to say something in defense of the girls.
Right.
Even though I know that we're both fans,
yeah.
right? When I was raising children, and my husband was handling all the finances, I was just like, thank you, God bless you. I already have too much on my plate. So if he's going to do it, I didn't want to get involved, because I already had plenty of things to do. And I saw my job as, well, I actually had a real job. Then I was doing therapy. Then I was doing therapeutic work with people. But I just figured, okay, thank you. That's one more thing I don't have to worry about. So I kind of see why they don't come to the appointments. It's almost like until the alarm bells are ringing, we don't get it, that we need to find out what's happening in those appointments. So if our spouse should predecease us, or leave us for that young 20-year-old, then we have some idea where we stand.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I couldn't have said it better. And I will encourage, like I said, in those situations, for the wife to get involved. And sometimes, if they're not there, I suggest, or, they can't come, I suggest that we make another time when they can come. But I lay this out in the beginning with when I'm starting to work with a couple, that it's very important that I have the both of them engaged, and because it's important to me to understand what's important to her about the money too, for that very reason.
Yes.
And I do understand what you're saying, Paula, in terms of deferring the money, and the decisions around the money with the family to be handled by the spouse, your husband, because in your situation, because you had your plate full over here. And that does happen a lot. That's not unusual in relationships. And it could be the other way around too. But for the most part, I see more with the man, than with the woman. But a lot of it has to do with, going back to what I was talking about financial confidence. And that is that, think about, and I know that you could speak to this, but think about from the time that your children, when you're young, and you, like when I was being raised, it was like my father handled all those things, those matters, and my mother never even questioned it. So, I mean, if I'm seeing that, how else, how am I going to be different other than I at some point, a switch went off on me, and I decided I'm going to be different, because I don't want to end up like that in that situation. But so it's not unusual that a couple will defer to handle things.
Sure.
And with the, in our society, typically the male is the one that's taught about the money, and we think of, at least that's the way we were raised, and like you said, our mothers were raised that way, right?
Yeah.
So I just heard an interview by Warren that he was saying that he has so much faith in the women today, coming into what our world, or even America, is going to be like, because when he was growing up, his sisters, the same thing. They were basically told to, and taught that, you go off to school and you marry well, and you'll be fine. Where he was the one, he said his sisters were just as intelligent as he is, and that they could have done what he's done, and that he's surrounded with women in his business, and that are very successful and very smart and bright, intelligent. So he says that now, because with the younger generation, like Aaron, your daughter and my son's generation that's coming up, it has shifted for them.
Yes. And
we see, and it's going to be different because, and he says, that's 50%. If you think of 50% of the population the women that never really attempted to educate, learn about, and become empowered financially, and then all of a sudden now these women are today, that we're going to see a whole slew of women that are just as capable as men. So that's going to elevate our country.
That's very cool.
Isn't that cool? I love that.
I really love that too, and it's so true. And in our next segment, I'd love to get into a little bit more about that, and also maybe ask you about some of these questions on the quiz. Sure. I failed so miserably.
Oh.
But, and the other thing I want to say is, well, I won't. I'll sit back with Cheri Blair, financial consultant. Oh, and Cheri, let's give your website.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm going to give my number. If you want to reach me, is 619-997-0416, or you can email me at cblair, B-L-A-I-R, at Lucia Financial. Lucia is L-U-C-I-A, Financial, FINANCIAL.com. So it's cblair at luciafinancial.com.
All righty, and we'll be right back with Cheri Blair. Oh, yeah, that's good. Perfect. Okay, so Facebook live streamers, we are just going to do a little powwow here, planning on what we want to hit in the next segment, and we'll be right back. So, what was the thing I thought of? Oh, the women who are the retirement age now are really the ones that came from that traditional situation. Yes, so no wonder.
Right.
Like they didn't, like, I know what I was going to say. I was encouraged to save money in the bank, but no real talk when I was growing up about investing money.
Right.
Obviously other people knew that because some people got rich. But so saving I'd like to ask you a little bit about the pros and cons of saving versus investing.
Right.
So maybe we could start with that. And then I have an idea of what I'd like to propose to you about this quiz.
Okay.
And then maybe we can just pick a question from the quiz and I'll have you answer.
Okay.
What it really would be. Would you like to choose one?
That would be
or
good.
You know what? Why don't we start with question 1? Because that's...
Is this the question up here?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's the question.
You had a diversified profile. Oh, I think I told you. Okay. Based on the historical return of the United States. Oh,
that
what would you... Yeah, each,
Well, what I'd like to ask is, why can we only get $4,000 a year? Is that...
Well, that's going back to that is good. That's going back to, because you want that to last.
Exactly.
And you have $100,000, and depending on obviously what kind of return it's getting.
Yeah. But
$100,000. I mean, $4,000 a year. That's not even 300. I mean, that's a little over 300 a month.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So that's what people don't really don't.
Out.
That's what. Exactly. And that's what people really don't get is like. That, when you take, like you take a lump sum and then you say, okay, I want an income off of that. Mm-hmm. Okay, what kind of income can I generate? Right. And that principle still be there. Mm-hmm. Well, that goes back to, all right, what are you taking?
Let's have you do this on the show because I want you to save all that energy.
Okay.
That's perfect. Okay. All right. So when you're ready, if you'll hit those buttons, we'll bring you back.
Okay.
I'm going to have a sip of water here.
It's red and green, right?
White, the white, red, and green. All righty. I don't know why there's 3 buttons. We're, just so you know, Facebook live stream, folks, we have a clock so that we know how long each segment is, and a show clock it's called. And so we have 11 minutes and 30 seconds, and if we don't set the clock, then we won't know how long we've talked.
That's right.
All right, so Cheri's going to be the clock setter. All right, dear. All right. Welcome back to Change It Up with Paula Shaw. Here in studio with me right now is Cheri Blair, the sponsor and financial consultant of this show. And we have been talking about having enough money to live nicely during retirement.
Right.
And any of you who weren't with us on the last segment, I mentioned that I took this test. It was about gender differences in understanding about money and retirement, and I failed it miserably. And so Cheri and I are discussing that. And Cheri, I actually had a thought. I want to get back to savings versus investing.
Right.
But I wondered, after I looked at these results that I did so badly on yesterday, and realized how much I don't know, I wondered if we could have you on the show a couple of times a month, and each time let's pull one of the questions from the quiz.
That sounds great.
And talk about that information so that at the end of that time, everybody who's listening to our show will be just as knowledgeable as you and I at that time will be. And I'm going to retake the test, and then we'll report the results
That's
back.
a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah, sure. That's a good idea.
Okay,
good idea.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I want you to know, I'm coming into the tribe. Cheri's been trying to educate me for so long. And I saw the importance of it, but I didn't get it as clearly as I do now, reading these things and seeing how little I really understood.
Right.
So this will make you laugh. Cheri knows my daughter, Erin, who did some photography at this beautiful event that Cheri had for women. And on the way here, because it's her 33rd birthday, the whole discussion was about, honey, I think it's time for you to start investing.
Oh, that's great.
Get a mutual
that's
fund.
Great.
Even if you just put away $50 a month, it can mean so
that's
much
right. That's right.
down the road.
That's right. That's
so I'm learning. I've been a slow study, but I am learning.
Well, that, Paula, that's wonderful. So, and like I was saying before, no matter where you are in life, you can always start today, right?
Yes. To Google the 2017 Retirement Income Literacy Gender Differences Quiz, and take the quiz, because not only will you find out where you stand, but when you get your results, now, of course, I got this all online, so I copied and pasted it into a Word document, so I would have it, so we'd have questions to have Cheri answer for months to come. But when you get your results, not only are you going to see what you missed, you're going to see what you need to learn, and the answers are right there. So it's a really important move, I think, to ensure your financial safety in your future.
Right. That's great, Paula. That's great.
So, Cheri, we were talking about saving versus investing and all of that. And when I was a kid, we had, did you have the little bank thing where every Friday you put some money in a little envelope and they deposit it in the bank for you?
Yes.
Okay, that was my first savings account. And so I learned the value of saving, but I never really learned the value of investing. And the joke here is my first husband was a stockbroker.
Oh my gosh! I don't think you've ever told me that.
I knew.
No wonder why you deferred all those.
Maybe that's it. Trauma from the past.
Oh yeah, no, really. But you deferred it all to him, thinking he was going to know it all, right?
He was a trained professional with money. So and then my second husband was the producer of a television show. I've heard he knows way more about the money than I do. So I've got my hands full. I had a career. I had children. I just know I'm not the only one out there.
Absolutely.
In that kind of situation. So I can remember during my second marriage, and stop me if this isn't correct, but it seems like on our savings money, we were getting like 8%. Was there a time when that was true?
Yes.
In the 90s or something?
No, that was before that. Even
before that,
80s,
the 80s.
Yeah, 80s. But
thank you.
No, that you're right. There was
a lot
time.
of investments don't do that well now. So at that time, having a savings account was almost enough. But is it still?
No, not at all.
Tell us why.
Well, interest rates just aren't high enough, and they haven't been for the longest time. Now they're starting to nudge up a little bit, but even in the last 10 years, interest rates have remained very low. So like if you put your money in the savings account in the bank, you were lucky if you got 1% or even 1.5%, you know, or something like that. And there might be times when you could get a little bit more, but it's been that way for 10 years. 10 years is an awful long time.
Yes.
I mean, you know, it's all, you know, when you're investing, because you said something about saving, you know, you're asking me in between saving versus investing. And what's so important about when you know, like in the bank, you're putting so much money in, but the interest rate's so low. So when you're thinking about the 80s, that was a different time for everybody. Yeah. It was just a different time. And, you know, we haven't had those kind of interest rates in savings accounts since then. And I don't think we will see it again.
Really?
You know, no. So
it'll be as low as it is now, probably for many years.
No. It can definitely go up. But to see 8, I mean, I had people say I was getting 9 or 10%. I've had clients, senior clients, say to me that they, you know, there was a time in their life where they're getting maybe 11% or something.
Oh my!
I mean, you know, why did you need to, you know, put it in the market, right? So, but those times are gone. And but you know, one thing about investing that's so important to understand is the effect of compounding interest.
Okay.
So in a savings account, you might get, like I said, 1.5, you know, 1.5, maybe even 2%. Maybe it goes up to 3%. Opposed to getting, you know, in an investment, you might get, you know, even conservatively 5, you know, 4.5, 5, maybe 6%, all the way up to 10%, 12%, and higher. You know, there's obviously stocks that do, you know, certain companies that do much higher at times. So if you're always getting something, you know, from let's say 4.5 to 5 up to, for the most part, you know, a good 10 or 12%, over a period of many years, you're going to way outperform what you'd ever, because the compounded interest, the effect it's going to have over a long period. Like, let me give you an example. So let's say if you put about $157 away a month every year for 30 years, and it made 6%, you'd have $1 million. Wow. So 157 is not a lot of money. You don't have to be rich, right? So if you put that away every, you know, like you said, you know, starting with our children, our adult children, you know, I mean, and talking about these things. Yes. So that makes a big difference when you're, you know, investing opposed just to saving. Saving is important, and I think the concept of saving that you were taught as a child is very, very important. But in order to build your own wealth and to help supplement your retirement, or to supplement your retirement when you decide to retire, that's not going to cut it today. No.
You have to find ways to grow the money, right?
That's right. That's correct.
Yeah. You know, my son told me that a book that changed his life was The Richest Man in Babylon. I don't know if you've ever read that.
Yes, of course.
But one of the principles, one of the first principles is to save 10% of your money.
That's right.
But later on, he says, but then you need to grow that savings. Otherwise, it's certainly better than not having savings. But if you're not growing it, you're not getting ahead,
if it's just sitting in the bank and it's only getting like 1.5, 2%, or whatever it is, or even less at times, obviously, you know, that's not going to cut it. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. I'd like to just take a little, make a little point here about something I just said. And I was talking about, you know, having a return of like, you know, anywhere from 5 to 12 maybe % or something. Obviously, we're going to have times when because the market's volatile. You know what I mean? It's going to go up, it's going to go down, right? So let's say, you know, with the last big recession we had, obviously, was in 08, 09, right? 08, 07, 08, 09. And it did, people lost easily, you know, 25, 30, and even more % of their savings and investments, you know, or what they had put in investments that were saving. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear about that, because even like I talked about over a 10-year period or something, like the last 10 years since 2008, so 2018 now, you know, the market's done well. So that's what, so it doesn't mean it's
So
never going to go down.
This is something I've been dying to ask someone. So the people who lost so much during that recession, would they have been wisest to just leave their money where it was because now there's been this gain in the last 10 years? Or is that money just gone?
Well, those are very good questions. Number one, once you sell something, let's say you're into some mutual funds, or you have stocks or whatever they are, equities, whatever. But once you sell it,
Then
you're locked in the losses. So if you have a mutual fund that went down 25%, back in 08, 09, or 10, or something, and you sold it, then you just locked in your losses.
Yes, I love that term, locked in your losses. But if you hold on to it, then you have a chance of gaining it back. Is that
right.
correct?
That's right.
Oh,
that's
I'm
right.
so glad I know that.
Right.
Now I get it. So now I get why that you're hearing always financial people say, ride it out, hold on, don't panic.
Right, you're right.
And sell, because if you sell, you lock in your losses. I love that term,
That's
Cheri.
right.
So, Cheri, I can't wait for you to come back because we have this to tackle in the future. The test, which I did so badly on, Cheri has agreed that when she comes back, each time we're going to tackle one of these questions so that we can all learn together.
That's great.
And grow into knowing the right answers and the right things to do with our money. So if you want to reach Cheri, would you give them the information again? Oh, yes, and tell them about this gift that you're giving away.
Right. So I can be reached at 619-997-0416. That is 619-997-0416. Or if you'd like to get a booklet that I have to give to the ladies today, it's about empowering today's woman. Empowering today's woman. And you can email me at cblair, that's C as in cat, Blair, Blair, at Lucia, Lucia, financial, financial.com. So it's cblair at luciafinancial.com. And I will be happy to
get one of these books.
Get you this book.
Thank you, Cheri. We are out of time, but this was great.
Oh, it was wonderful.
And we will
Paula.
be right back with Dina J. Ray to talk to us about Care Able, a new nonprofit. Be right back. Okay. There she is. Oh, perfect timing.
It's done, right? Start it again.
Yeah. Hello, perfect timing. Come on in. Yeah, oh, you didn't wear a jacket, but it's okay.
You know what? Here, you can give her this.
All right. So
Hi.
This is Cheri Blair. She is the
Nice to
sponsor
meet you.
of this show.
Nice to meet you, yeah.
All right, so we're going to roll that chair back there, and this one here, and make room for yours. Sure. Okay. Oh, do you need a little more turning radius?
Yeah, just a little. Where do you want me? I'm going to be right here.
You're going to be speaking into that mic.
Okay.
So, Facebook live stream people, this is Dina J. Ray. We are on Facebook Live right now.
Oh, hi.
And she is going to be joining us in this last segment. Let me grab my water out of your way. And who's with you?
This is my friend, caregiver, Abby.
Abby. Hi, Abby. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for bringing her here today. We are so happy to have her. Okay. Do we need to do another mic check, Todd? Okay. All right. So, Dina, he's going to put that mic, and it comes to you.
Okay,
So you
cool.
want it about that close to your mouth. But if you're wanting to look at me when we're talking, you don't have to.
Okay.
But just be sure that you bring that with you.
Okay, got
so
it.
that you can turn your head. Because if you turn your head like that, it won't hear you. So
Gotcha.
you want it to be near your mouth.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to do this. All right. So what we're going to do right now is just a little mic test.
Okay.
So he's going to have us count.
Okay.
And he'll just test the levels, make sure that we can hear you.
Okay.
All right, sweetheart. Okay, are you testing me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you ready for Dina? Okay, Dina, go ahead and count into.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, that's good. We got you. Are you cold, sweetheart?
A little, but I'm okay. I'm
Are you
alright.
sure?
Yeah.
Maybe we could just put it around the back.
Can you see me, Ivy?
Here, we'll just put this
That's so weird.
around the back to snuggle you a little. Yeah. I know. I people never, especially if it's warm outside, they never expect how cold it is in here. But I did say that
No,
in the
she
letter.
did. She did, absolutely.
All right. Oh, let
No,
me
it's
just
not
grab. Oh, that. I think it's an extra. Let me grab her bio out. Oops. I just realized, Cheri, didn't even use your bio. Oh, well, but we know you. And now they know you even better. All right, Ms. Dina. Okay. Is Todd ready? Did he? You know what? Can I ask one of you guys to close the door? Oh, there's Todd. No, okay. Okay. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, bless your heart. All right. So this segment's going to be 11 minutes, 30 seconds, and this is our clock.
Okay.
And all you got to do is follow my lead.
All right.
All right.
Sounds
Here
good.
we go. Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. In studio with me right now, I have Dina J. Ray. Did I say all that correctly?
You did.
Oh, good. All right. This is a pretty amazing lady. She is originally from Toronto, Canada. And at the young age of 2, Dina was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. Her younger days were a consistent fight for survival due to consistent high fevers and a debilitating illness. She also overcame a terrible car accident at age 12, which left her wheelchair-bound and dependent on care from family and caregivers. Again, in the beginning of the show, we talked about when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. This is a lady who's really done that. After receiving her bachelor's in sociology at the University of California in San Diego, she went on to pursue and receive her master's degree in 2013 in clinical mental health and now counsels at the University of San Diego. She wholeheartedly believes, and I love this about her, that everyone has the potential to live their lives differently and impact the world. She's battled many challenges throughout her 40 years of disability and continues to pursue her desires to reach higher goals. And the one she's going to talk with us about today specifically is Club Able, to help a nonprofit, which is being started to help the disabled. And ABLE stands for Actively Building Life Empowered.
Yes.
So earlier in the show, we had Cheri Blair on, who's all about empowering women financially.
Oh, wow.
And here you are. You're all about empowering people who are disabled physically.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about what inspired. Sounds like you're a pretty busy lady already, and you've got a pretty busy job counseling. But what inspired you to now start a nonprofit?
Let me do one correction. I
Okay.
do counseling at Women's Resource Center in Oceanside for domestic violence. Right now, I work with the 52-week offenders that are arrested for domestic violence. Love my job. Absolutely love it.
Great.
So what? Basically, I started this nonprofit because about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I was leaving my home and I got stuck. My van, there was smoke coming out of the front of it, so I had to stop it into a shopping center about a mile away from my home, and I was stranded there for hours. I called a bunch of taxi services. I called a bunch of other companies, and they wanted about $110 to pick me up and take me a mile away, which is back to my residence. So this experience really just opened my eyes, and my constant fight for accessibility in San Diego and being physically disabled, being bound to a wheelchair, everything's been a fight. It hasn't been an easy road by any means. So I started Club Able, which is a network provider membership where the physically disabled people can come and get these non-medical services at a discounted rate instead of paying all the fees and all fighting for what they need. Mm-hmm. So basically, Club ABLE, which means actively building life empowerment, is reaching out to the physically disabled, and it's free to join, people. So if you're listening out there and you're physically disabled, please check my website out at www.club-able.com and join. And the kind of services that we're offering are landscaping, cleaning, counseling, soon to be transportation. We're looking for a van so that we can do like a local Uber Lyft system where we can pick people up and drive them to the different destinations, but at a reasonable rate, not this $100 a ride thing.
Let's talk about that van for a minute,
yes.
Because if anybody out there has access to a van, because you need something that's not 80 years old and that runs
absolutely
well, and that you can outfit to be able to accommodate wheelchairs, correct?
Yes. So I have a GoFundMe page. It's been up and running for about 6 months. I've been desperately looking for a wheelchair accessible van that's a newer-ish van. Mine is very old, 2008, and not surviving very well. And so, yeah, if anyone has access to a van that they don't need, definitely looking for a wheelchair van at this point.
Beautiful. Dealership that
absolutely
would like to donate one to Club ABLE.
Yes.
Let's give that website again for Club ABLE.
Yeah, it's club-able.com. So www.club-able.com.
Okay, so right now, tell us about what you need. What does Club ABLE need besides the van?
Okay, so the van is our number one, but we also need providers. So if you're in the healthcare industry listening to us today, from caregivers to nurses to chiropractors to massage therapists, if you're a provider and you actually care about the physically disabled communities and you want to offer your services, you have to agree to give them a 15 to 20% discount. Please join us. You can look at our website. We're looking for providers right now on our website and join our team. All that we ask is that you are wheelchair accessible friendly, that you have a heart and desire to serve the community that really needs your assistance. And we're also looking for disabled people to join us. So there's power in numbers. So the more people that are physically disabled that join Club ABLE, the more that we can go out to businesses and say, hey, we want to change a system that's been kind of ranked. I mean, buying a wheelchair accessible van is about $50,000, $60,000. And that's not that's not okay for anyone that's physically disabled.
Yes. And you know, I think it's important to let people know, why does it have to be a van?
Well, it has to be a van because wheelchairs don't fit into normal cars, especially electric wheelchairs. You can't fold them. You can't maneuver them. So that's why the van is so important.
I see. So they really can't get anywhere without a van.
They cannot, yes.
So when you're calling car services and that kind of thing, do none of them have vans, or does it have to be a specially equipped van?
It has to be a specially equipped van, and it just so happens that most of the people that are doing private taxis are charging an arm and a leg because they can, because no one's saying that that's not okay. And so I'm kind of coming out there saying it isn't okay because I don't have $100 to take me to my job. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that, we don't make that kind of money being physically disabled.
I think that's absolutely so great that you're out there fighting for that, because you're right. I mean, who has $100 to get to work every day or to get to the store or whatever?
Exactly. And if you think about the Ubers out there and the Lyfts and how people can just do that for $15, $20, but we can't. That needs to stop.
What is the age range of people in Club ABLE, or is there one?
Right now, there's not an age range. Anyone can join that's physically disabled, but from 16 or 15 all the way to elderly, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really an age. It's just the services. If we have services that you guys want, then, look at our network, look at what we're doing. And obviously we're looking for the community at large to join us so we can go out to the businesses and continue to offer good services for a discounted rate.
And what community are you based in?
Carlsbad, right now, North County.
Okay.
That's where I live, so that's where we're launching and starting. But hopefully one day soon we'll branch out to greater San Diego and different areas once we have the amount of physically disabled people in our network.
Perfect. And I hope eventually all over the country.
Absolutely.
This is something I think, that disabled people must struggle with everywhere in the country, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just having your house be wheelchair accessible or having a cleaner come to your house and know what barrier-free cleaning looks like. I mean, these are things that I think most people that are in wheelchairs, and not just wheelchairs, but the blind and the deaf need. So it just doesn't matter your disability. Club Able just wants to serve the physically disabled right now.
Ah, that's good to know, too. So other disabilities are also welcome.
Absolutely.
Oh, fabulous. What was the term you just used about cleaning? I don't know what that is.
Barrier-free means that, usually when a cleaner cleans your home, they move things like couches and tables and stuff. But if you're blind and you can't see, that's a big deal. So you need people that are cleaning your house that have some compassion and understand that if you move the couch a certain way that maybe they can't see, or, they're not used to that. That could potentially cause a fall or something.
I see. That would be a pretty serious situation.
Absolutely.
Well, Dina, I can't thank you enough for spending some time with us today and sharing about Club Able and for being that person that took the lemons and is working very hard at making lemonade so that many, many people can have that drink of lemonade.
Absolutely.
I think your work is beautiful, and I'm honored that you were my guest today.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being here.
Oh, bless you. And to all our listeners, we hope to see you again next week. And you can find us here on KCBQ in San Diego every Saturday and Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. And also on assorted stations across the country, on iHeartRadio, and on all the major podcast platforms. So please keep joining us for Change It Up with Paula Shaw. We'll see you again soon. And that's a wrap.
All right. It's awesome. Thank you. A little nervous, but
you are very articulate. I want to
thank you.
tell you, you do an amazing job of speaking about this group. She was originally, I'll tell this to the live streamers that are still with us too, she spoke at our Rotary group here in Rancho Santa Fe, and she blew my socks off, and so I said, we need to have her on the show. So anybody out there who's looking for a place to donate, to make a charitable donation, or if you have any kind of connections that you could get a van for this amazing group that's just trying to make life a little easier for the disabled, please go to that website, club-able.
www.club-able.com.
I just realized everything I just said, I wasn't saying into my microphone. My sound engineer is always reminding me about this. So what I just said, in case you didn't hear me, this is just a beautiful work that this lady is doing. And if any of you are looking for a place to make a charitable donation, or you have an inside edge on a van that they could do what they need to do with, please go to that website that she just told you. She was wise enough to be speaking into her mic.
www.club-able.com.
Cool. All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Bless you, my little friend.
Thank you very much.
Can you get the finish